Greetings, Captain. Welcome to Stowbutter's Elite TFO training for Guillotine. As usual, we'll start with objectives.
The first objective is to destroy the 10-dimensional conveyors in the Unicomplex. Second, deploy the 6 stitching anchors and defend them until they are fully shielded. The Borg can disable no more than 3 anchors during this stage, or the mission will fail. Next, destroy all Borg assimilators attempting to escape during this stage. If even one escapes, the mission fails. Lastly, once all anchors are deployed and shielded, defeat the 2 tactical cubes.
Thank you. On to risks and rewards. This TFO needs moderate to high coordination to play well on Elite, with all optionals and without dying. It is possible to complete in a public group, but a tank is usually needed for deathless completion, and it is difficult to coordinate stitching anchors. Enemy threat level is moderately high, as Mirror Borg will drain shields and deal a decent amount of damage, and there are many Borg ships. Since these are Mirror Borg, their spheres can also self-destruct with a 4-kilometer radius for significant damage. This TFO awards a moderate to high amount of Omega or Fleet Marks, along with a chance for subspace comm power pieces. Lastly, this operation is of moderate length, depending on how quickly your team can deploy and defend the stitching anchors. At around 8 minutes besides briefing for a coordinated high DPS team closing all the anchors simultaneously, or around 12 minutes for a team that takes the anchors in pieces. The adversaries on this operation are Mirror Borg. The most notable difference between Mirror Borg and Prime Universe Borg is that their spheres can self-destruct when low health. Just like their Prime Universe counterparts, Mirror Borg vessels have a powerful shield drain ability, so encounters with them need to account for low shield uptime. Significant enemy damage is expected. The key part of this operation is the second stage, as the first and third stages are straightforward. Once the stitching anchors are ready in the second stage, gauge your team's ability. Since there is no maximum timer on the stitching anchors or the overall TFO, your team can choose based on their ability if they can handle covering them all simultaneously, or if they need to take them in stages. High-end, coordinated teams can have 2 players float in the middle, sweeping enemies emerging from the Unicomplex, and defeating any assimilators to prevent them from escaping. One of these players should probably be a tank, since this will have the highest threat level, and ideally a DPS-oriented or heavy tank. That leaves 3 players to each defend 2 of the stitching anchors, which is very doable if you have high-end coordinated players. For example, ships capable of doing 500k or even 300k on ISC are probably fine. Ships with less damage will want to adopt a different tactic. For less capable or uncoordinated teams, we recommend that you only deploy 3 of the anchors at a time. This will slow down the TFO somewhat, by about 4 to 5 minutes, but reduces risk of failure, as 3 players can each cover a stitching anchor, while the other 2 focus on the middle and assimilators. Remember that none of the assimilators can be allowed to escape or the mission will fail. In this video, we will demonstrate the high-end coordinated tactic of deploying all 6 anchors at once. If you would like to see how we handle the map when we're only deploying 3 of them at a time, please see our fire at will video. A tank is not mandatory for this TFO, but it is very helpful. Tank builds, especially more DPS-oriented or heavy tanks, are very effective on this map, as there is significant enemy damage output in a relatively small area. More supportive tanks may struggle as the team will be more spread out and every player is expected to contribute at least some damage. In the opening stage, engage the Mirror Borg, focusing on the larger targets like assimilators in the cube first, then moving to the conveyors, which are marked with a red symbol. Try and stay in the thick of the fighting to draw as much fire as possible. Once all the enemies are destroyed, there will likely be some waiting for new conveyors to spawn until all 10 are defeated. In the second stage, spread out and cover the anchors. We recommend that the tank player stay in the middle over the Unicomplex, even if you start an anchor's shielding process at first. This will allow you to intercept and draw aggro from Borg ships leaving the Unicomplex to attack the anchors. It will allow you to assist any anchor that is in trouble and get first crack at the assimilators. There is nothing preventing you from staying at an anchor, but we found tanks were more useful in the middle, where enemies will continually respawn, and the tank can continually engage the new groups of Borg ships that are going to attack the anchors. This reduces the number of ships approaching any of the anchors. Engage the mirror Borg ships until all the anchors are shielded, but don't forget assimilators, as not even one can be allowed to escape. When multiple assimilators spawn at once, use your best judgment on which to attack first. If you know an ally at one of the anchors near to an assimilator is a strong player, focus on the other one.
Observe. Something is disrupting the stitching network.
When the tactical cubes spawn, our recommendation is to defeat the assimilators first. The assimilator escape objective doesn't always immediately end when the tactical cubes appear, so we target them first and destroy them before turning on the tactical cubes. As a tank, position to strike both tactical cubes simultaneously. Keeping aggro from both should be easy, as history will remember should be fully stacked by this point in the TFO. It will likely take some time to defeat them if you are the strongest DPS, but once both tactical cubes are destroyed, the TFO ends. Captain, if this breakdown helped you in your quest to play Stowe better, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. The link to the specific build used for this tutorial is in the description. For more guides and builds, check us out at www.stobetter.com.